Hello viewers, this is Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot. How are you all today, this evening, wherever you are in the world? Here in Australia, it's Monday morning. Of course, the big news coming out of America over the weekend was Republican Congressman Justin Amash, coming forward here calling for Trump's impeachment. And of course, I think Trump has responded by calling him a loser. Over the weekend, I actually watched someone from the House Judiciary Committee talking about justifying why the Democrats weren't moving to impeachment despite the overwhelming evidence of obstruction of justice in the Mueller report. Basically, the argument was that they needed to bring people along with them, including their Republicans, because any impeachment moves in the House, or the beginnings of impeachment moves, of course, the Senate holds the trial, as I understand it. If the Republicans aren't supporting, then it's doomed to failure. And of course, you've got people like Elizabeth Warren saying it's absolutely the Democrats' constitutional responsibility to start these impeachment proceedings. Okay, Justin Amash. Okay, calling for impeachment here. Let's have a look at what's behind that. Let's have a look. Why has he come out? I actually did hone in on him in the Cohen hearings before Congress. I felt he was actually trying to get to the truth. So let's have a look at whether or not he is a lone voice, or whether other Republicans are actually feeling the same way, or is this another strategy of the Republicans to really tie the presidency in knots here, understanding that they may be better off going with someone else in 2020. Let's have a look at whether or not Justin Amash's moves to call for impeachment is a Republican strategy. I guess that's what we want to know. Is it a Republican strategy designed to push the president toward perhaps stepping down in some way? Okay, so I've just got a bunch of cards that have fallen out, but the King of Wands has fallen out. I think this was very strongly telling me this was the judges unredacting the Mueller report. I feel that they're very worried about what could actually come out in the Mueller report. So, is this call for an impeachment, a move against the presidency on the part of the Republicans? Okay, so they're worried about the full Mueller report, the unredactions. Okay, all right, is it a strategy on behalf of the Republicans? I'm sure they do get in the back rooms and say, well, you play this role and you play that role and you do this and you do that. We'll hedge our bets this way. I'm sure there's political strategies around that. So the lawmakers are actually challenged by loss here. And this, of course, is the card that would suggest that Trump might walk away. But, of course, we know that Trump's not that type of person to easily give up. He's not the type, but let's be realistic, he's not the type of person to step down. He would only do that when he was absolutely had no other option, because he is, in his mind, that's not the way he does things. He doesn't accept loss. It's always about the win here. So this is what's challenging the Republicans. It's actually Trump not walking away, not stepping down. And they're worried about that Mueller report here, being unredacted. There's something in those unredactions here to do with the money news, some kind of news that would come out in relation to the Trump organization. I've always said around the Moscow Tower here, the Moscow Trump Tower, but this is only a page. It's not a major arcana, nor is it a king or queen. So we have to understand that this page is presenting some news. It's not going to be a bombshell, but they're at this point in time, but they're worried about generally this slow drip coming out from the Mueller report. In the past, we've got the star here, and this is hopeful. I think they have been hopeful that this presidency would get back on track, but I feel that that hope hasn't been well founded. They're very restricted at the moment with the Eight of Swords. This is almost like they're being imprisoned by this president. This is, tariffs that make no sense, tariffs that are hurting farmers, that elected Trump. This is Iran, no evidence coming out here with Iran. This is more around warmongering. And it goes on and on and on. This president is not, I feel, is not able to be controlled by the GOP. Justin Amash has perhaps come forward to visibly send a signal to Trump. I also feel that he is quite well intentioned, so let's wait till the end of the reading. He's isolated, though, at the moment. There's not going to be people jumping on board just yet. The environment around his retreat, though, I feel that the Republicans in the Congress are actually quite worried about this obstruction that Barr is undertaking. Privately, they're very, very worried about the Congress's power being undermined. And there is a retreat away from this president at this point in time. Here is the offer here, the hopes and the fears. I feel that there has been, I've always felt there's been an offer in the past, but I don't think Trump has accepted that, and I do feel I'm picking up the vibe that the Republicans are having trouble controlling Trump at this point in time. And it's all about losing in 2020. That's the motivation, losing power. A couple of aspects to this outcome card. Is this congressman coming forward as part of a wider GOP strategy? This is suggesting this is what Trump is doing to this congressman at the moment, and there will be continued attacks on him for daring to come forward. So for him to come forward knowing this is exactly what Trump does to dissenters has taken quite a lot here. But this is also pointing to the loss in 2020 that Republicans are worried about exactly the Nine of Swords. They're extremely worried and anxious about this. And it is around, don't you love it when the cards just keep, when you're in sync with them and they keep coming out with the narrative here. They're worried about victory in 2020. This is the victory card. And what's underneath, of course, is always the case with the Republicans. This is about their base. Now, I'm not talking about the base in the red states. This is about their big business donors, their real base, and I've touched on this subject in multiple readings last week. It can't be understated. We've seen this in Australia, and I've also read on that. I've done a bit of thinking about this in the last few days, just the impact of money on our politics. And I feel this is where this is at. I feel that they're worried about their chances in 2020. I do feel, though, that this congressman was, while it might have been part of this overall strategy around winning in 2020, I do feel that he actually does believe what he said. I feel that the obstruction of justice really is amplified by what's going on at the moment in the Congress, with Barr continually obstructing, and Trump basically saying, I will not cooperate with Congress at all. So I feel all of these things have combined to make the Republicans a little bit wary of this president. Let's have a look. Are they able... Okay, the Chariot, things coming forward very quickly. They are quite fearful. Let's have a look. Are the Republicans able to control Trump? Because if no one's controlling him, and plenty of those that surrounded him, Jim Mattis, not that I like John Kelly, but those kinds of people, they've all gone. Who's surrounding him now? Who's controlling Trump? Let's ask that. Are the Republicans able to control this president? Are the Republicans able to control this president? Republicans able to control this president? All right, so we've got no. They've been disappointed, and this is Trump with his back to the wall. Let's keep going with this reading. Okay, are the Republicans able to control this president? The Queen of Pentacles, she keeps coming up so many times, and initially I think of her as Kamala Harris, and this seems to be the challenge. The challenge to the Republicans at the moment is this. I guess reliability. Well, it's patience, reliability, and it's also stability and security of income sources. So I feel that there is a challenge, and I've always felt that this would be Trump's undoing with the Republicans. He's got his back to the wall. He's really almost presenting like a child in this card. And they're offering him things, but he's not accepting them. And this is the challenge here is they're worried about. I do feel this is the economy. It's also the challenge here is also around the capacity of lawmen and those investigations here to reveal the money trail here. And of course, the news coming forward this morning again is that Deutsche Bank flagged Trump and Kushner as alleged people who may be involved in alleged money laundering. Or so all of these aspects here are just contained within these two cards, but the bottom line is Trump's got his hands folded. There's certainly new starts here that they want in the Ace of Wands here. Yeah, the isolation here of Trump in the past here. These cards aren't suggesting, a united team. I'm feeling that the Congress is increasingly divorced from the White House and from the presidential power here and wanting to assert their power. And this ties in with the reading on the previous reading that I've just done. Oh, it's a tower moment. Okay, so no, I think they're unable here. The government is unable to control this president, and they're very worried about the economy. Now, at the moment, you've got one congressman coming out and calling for impeachment, and we've got the Star of Hope here. But this is only a hope at this point in time. It's around, there's more time to elapse here. This is waiting for results. So I'm drawn here to the interview that I saw on MSNBC with a member of the House Judiciary Committee. Now, he talked about waiting to bring the Republicans along with them, but also moving toward an inquiry as to whether impeachment should be started. So Democrats are playing this political strategy here to get the Republicans to slowly come on board with them. They know how compromised the Republicans and the Congress is at this point in time with this president. They know things that we don't know. Okay, so going back to the past, the hopes and fears. Are they able to control this president? What they're not able to control is the information and evidence on his past dealings coming out. That's what they're not able to control. They are reevaluating their relationship with this president at this point in time, and it is to do with 2020, and they are most definitely moving away from this president. And it is because they were chained to him at one point in the future, but they are now, the tide is turning. They're very worried about whether or not they can win in 2020, and they're actually very worried about what is coming forward from the Mueller report, what's likely to come forward in those unredacted sections of the Mueller report. So Republicans, yes, Justin Amash, is it, moving away, calling for impeachment. It appears that this is the start of potentially a strategy to move away from this president for all the reasons that are coming forward in this reading. So what sort of a week are we going to have here with Donald Trump? What sort of a week? I'll just give these cards a bit of a shuffle. We know that he's pretty incensed. about this Republican congressman calling for impeachment. We know he's taken to the Twitter sphere again. We know that he will see this as a loss, and what does he do when he sees a loss? He is now abusing his power. He will abuse his power. What's going to come forward this week with Donald Trump? What can we expect for the week ahead with Trump? All right, so we've got justice coming forward here. I think it was May the 31st we would get to see more of the Mueller report, but there's some justice here. The focus will be on justice. Justice, the courts perhaps, the investigations, and there will be more attempts to, this is the Five of Swords, this is abuse of power. So the challenge to justice is abuse of power. So this is what we can expect this week. But we've also got standing one's ground and defending oneself. So Trump will still be doing a lot of that, and in some ways he'll be quite successful. Okay, so stopping his taxes coming forward, stopping the money trail. Again, we had information coming forward, but it's also around Deutsche Bank. It's also suggesting that, well, this is in the past position. So that is influencing Trump's behaviour this week. This is an insecure president. As we progress through this week, this is someone who's very insecure, and insecure around money. Okay, so we've got multiple forces now impacting on Donald Trump and decisions to be made, but also the clear need, because we've got such an abuse of power, undermining justice, the rule of law, the congressional power. There's a need now to start to consider I guess, moving ways to move through this impasse. And I do feel that in some way you'll see this week, you will see Republicans joining with Democrats in some way. This is the card of unity. Yep, and the environment around is, I do feel we can expect some dissension around the tariffs now coming from the Republicans. This is commerce and expansion. And the hopes and fears, well, of course, as we drag ourselves through another week in Trump land, we're pretty battle weary. But I do feel this is Trump here. Trump's also battle weary. The Ace of Pentacles, we've got some sort of news coming out in relation to his income sources. Okay, some kind of inspired action here around bringing forward information, and there's also a judgment here, a judgment to be made. So it wouldn't surprise me if we've got more news on Trump's financial dealings, and people will be making a judgment. All up, though, Trump is being restricted, and when Trump is being restricted by negative press, by his own Republican Party dissenting, then we have him trying to restrict us. So I feel that this week we can expect some news to come forward around Trump's financial dealings. He will continue to try and undermine justice here. He will continue to abuse the power of the presidency, obstruct the Congress. I do feel that you might see more moves between the Republicans and the Democrats to come together. There is significant worry here around those tariffs and also Iran, because I'm getting foreign policy here too. But I'm feeling there's going to be some judgment that we'll be making around some news that will be coming forward in relation to Trump's money. He's restricted, but he's also trying to restrict others. So there's the reading for today. Viewers, I hope you enjoyed that. Thank you all for your support around what occurred with the Australian election. I will do a reading here on some insights I've gotten around this election over the last couple of days, but I'll do that later in the week. I'm just going to do some more research, but it is in connection, it is in connection with the deal that the coalition government made with a mining magnate who ran who spent $60 million in advertising, which against particularly in Queensland, against the Australian Labor Party leader, and that advertising worked. And of course, the coalition government then preferenced this mining magnate who and his party, the United Australia Party. So we had that deal very much acting in the coalition's favour. What is in the background is that this mining magnate, as I said, has just had approval to environmental approval, I think, for a mine in the Galileo Basin, which is near the Great Barrier Reef, and he's also talking about establishing a coal-fired power station in that basin as well. So this is why the climate gets hurt. This is why the climate suffers every time that greed occurs, and greed in politics. It's why we lose, and the dark money wins. So I'll read a little bit further on Australia. I will probably add more free, a reading, at least one reading a week, if I can, depending on how volatile things get in Australia. As well, and then we also need to look at the UK, so we won't forget the United Kingdom and Canada. If what happened here in Australia is the same sort of thing that's happening in Canada, then we need to be concerned about that. So I'll leave that there. That's the Republicans for this week, and that's also Trump going forward. So thank you again for all your support regarding the Australian elections and for the support of this channel. It is very much appreciated. Thank you.